Well, I've been kicked out of my near every ball. Now when a red robin comes bobbing along, there'll be no more sobbing when he starts throbbing his old sweet song. Wake up, you sleepyhead. Get up, get out of bed. Cheer up, the sun is red. Live, love, laugh, and be happy. What have I been doing? Now I'm walking through fields of flowers. Rain may glisten, but still I listen for hours.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. Ash Brent with you on a
controversial Tuesday.
Fake outrage Tuesday.
No. We're going to have a great conversation about this. Most of you don't even have any idea, which is great. But we'll talk about it in a minute.
Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerland Hay Feed and Ranch Services. Stop on by the little gin that could on Water Street and get all you need.
No controversy there. You can buy Deerland Feed and you'll be thrilled with it.
They'll have bird feeders so you can help keep the birds alive.
Absolutely. Songbird feed. You can do that. Poor little guy probably starved to death. 58 degrees in Victoria, heading to a high today of only 75 under cloudy skies.
Going to be the nicest day for a while.
So Lisa Poole's here. She was one of the respondents yesterday. Let's just jump right into what. Yeah. So Ash and I are leaving here yesterday. 1 Adam 12. See the man.
Judge Posey, Mark Kurtz, Greg Garcia on the podium this morning. Thank you, folks.
Working the morning watch out of Central when Ash and I went down the stairs, 26 steps.
We heard a ruckus.
And with all humor aside, all intended humor aside, we go outside and laying next to the tire. In fact, I said to Ash, look, dude, you hit a bird. And he goes, no, that wasn't here when we got here. And
because I'm anal, I walk around my truck to see if there's anything wrong with it every time I get out of it.
We just call that safe.
Yeah.
But I asked him, is it alive? I go, don't touch it, but is it alive? And he kind of reached down with his foot, just kind of nudged it. It was already stiff. And the little guy had no doubt. I mean, it's just forensic review. He had flown into the building.
Probably.
Or
a cat maybe dragged him over there and dropped him. I don't know.
Point,
who knows?
And all cats then should be exterminated. I'm at the point now where I'm like.
And all I did was move it to the curb so it didn't get run over by the next car that parks there.
Absolutely.
That's all I did to it.
And
had it been alive, I have 2 wildlife rehabbers in my phone that I would have called.
Absolutely. There was no intent. We had nothing to do with the demise of said red robin.
No.
Now, with that said, because I let no tragedy go to waste, much like the Democrats, I quickly whipped out my phone, caught Ash on camera as he was testing the bird's livelihood. And now, being the most self-deprecating person on the planet and uber confident, I made a poor joke. I didn't. Every joke is not. Most jokes end up like jokes on Saturday Night Live. They should be in the toilet.
We feel this morning like the new cast of SNL felt on Monday morning after the 50th anniversary special
they're terrible.
Every single.
But I told Ash, I'm gonna post this, and he's like, And I said, I'm just gonna post it and see if anybody even goes to the Wade and Carter page during the day. Literally, what the conversation was: no thought intended, no malice intended, no effect on the bird, which was dead. So I put up there that instead of having Groundhog Day and dragging that poor groundhog out of a box, which is just rude.
I think he does have a little place to run.
Oh, I'm sure he's still captive. He should be out in the woods. But anyway, to be honest, it was the first draft. I don't even remember exactly what I said. I said, we're going to have the first dead cardinal. If you nudge it.
The first dead cardinal of spring.
Yeah, if you kick it and it doesn't move, 6 more weeks of winter, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the outrage.
Maybe the kicking it.
People, but I got comments. That's always the red robins remind me of a lost loved one. And I'm like, I can go with that. I can. I see rainbows. I think about certain people.
And I love cardinals.
I do
I think
too.
they're pretty birds.
I do too. I made the comment, I've shot thousands of dove through the decades, but I've never once put a BB gun on a songbird. I never took any joy in killing a bird.
Except for a dove.
Yeah, well, that helps the farmer, and I eat them. I don't waste them. Fair. But people, I guess where I'm going with it is, people took the time to respond, chastise, dress down. I had a lady come on and say, I'm unfollowing you. I used to like y'all's stuff, but this is one
Which is interesting because
God's creatures.
Outside of our shows every week or every day, we don't post a lot.
Yeah. No, we don't post a lot. Right. And at the end of the day, I told Ash, I go, a man was shot to death by his son on Cooley Road. Nobody made a comment, not one comment on this show about, did you see about the murder?
Yeah, I think there were a couple yesterday, but
Well, those were
we
the
didn't have
thoughtful
enough
group.
details.
But at the end of the day, the outrage over even a ill-conceived bit is senseless. Michelle Wilson argues Cardinals mate for life. Well, except maybe this guy was stepping out. I don't know. I think that he committed suicide.
The bright red ones are the males or the females? The females, I think, right?
No, the one with the plume, it was a male.
No, the males are darker. One of them's darker. Not all cardinals look like that. The other cardinal's darker and
Yeah, the
not
other
as-
the female is usually much more plain. Male, that was a male. Yeah, he had
Okay.
the little
All
plume on top
Okay.
of his head.
Yeah, the females are
Whitish.
H.R. Mallory says social media is not the airport. No need to announce your departure. Yeah, no doubt about it.
So if the red ones are males, why does everybody think it's a departed female loved one that it represents? I don't know.
I
That
don't
sounds
know.
weird. Oh, there goes my grandma.
No,
No, there doesn't.
I
'cause it
get
can't.
that. That's romantic. But I mean, I'm like, look, if you,
But bad joke.
yeah, no doubt about it. In fact, I'm going to take it down and I'm going to replace it today with a thoughtful, but I want you same people.
Where's the outrage?
To go comment.
Well, where was the outrage in Dumb and Dumber when they gave the blind kid in a wheelchair a dead bird with duct tape on it, and the kid sat there, pretty bird,
Right,
and
no.
everybody in the theater laughed.
Well, bring it closer to home. Just this last week, the Addams Family, live production, community theater. Wednesday picks up a bird. The head of the bird comes off. She throws it across the stage. The bird's head bounces along the path. The audience guffaws with laughter. No outrage there. Nobody got up and left the theater.
Well, in their defense, those things were funny. This one wasn't.
See, that's the whole point. If it's funny, you can get away with it. If it's not, you can't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, but at the end of the day, I hear you. There were maybe a dozen comments on there, and I had some fun with those people. Who was the one?
You were in a rather acerbic mood yesterday.
I was. It was Monday.
I don't know who peed in your cornflakes yesterday
Nobody.
morning.
I don't eat cornflakes anymore.
Sorry. Rice Krispies.
But I'm going to make up for it. So I encourage you today to go back to the Facebook page, and I actually love the comments, and I stand corrected.
Heather Stewart says, I don't ever get your posts in my feed except for yesterday.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I mean, as we speak, literally as we speak,
All right, you do that. I will
I'm
finish
joining
I'll
in.
finish roll call this morning.
and tearing that down.
Scott Snow, good morning. Ricky King, Will Vincent, Randy Langston, Rena Scherer, Marvin Mickish, Scott Tomko, David Glass, Andy Rokovich, good morning. Bobby Leister checking in, Justin Glass, Amanda King, Lisa Poole, Linda Chris, Junior Samples, Tammy Keeling, Jordan Glass, Torrin Bales, Sherry Jacobs, Sheree Brissett, because we all know Chris is still sleeping. Junior Samples thought it was a great joke. Junior laughs at
Well,
everything.
Junior's a sick man. That post
Scott Tomko.
is gone. There you go. It's gone. I took
Randy
it down.
Langston says that's how you get bird flu. That's why I didn't touch it with my hands. I don't touch any dead animal with my hands that I didn't see.
Commander.
Or whatever.
Tell the truth. Ash took that bird and snuggled it into his armpit
And gave it mouth to
and
mouth.
gave it mouth to mouth. I saw it. He put the whole bird in his little chest did that. It just did not come back.
And that's why I'm wearing long sleeves today, because my armpit is some weird rash on it.
I think the bird committed suicide and flew right into the side of the building because you people put too much
There's
stress,
too much pressure on it to
Yeah.
represent everybody's. That one bird has to
weight.
represent everybody's lost loved
That's
one.
right. That's right. And if I see you on the street, I'm going to step on a crack on the sidewalk, break your mama's back. You people.
Did you ever? Yeah. Did anybody that comment yesterday? Did they ever actually drop the gloves and throw knuckles down and feed knuckle sandwiches to whoever stepped on a crack when they were walking with them,
Right.
because their mom was now crippled at home in the kitchen
I
with the pie burning and the pot of soup boiling over because her back was now broken and she couldn't do anything.
just being a little irreverent. I mean, it's and I wish I had some deeper thought. The truth is, I didn't really have anything funny to post, and
Michelle Wilson Hawkins, good morning.
I apologize. I do. I sincerely, and I learned this from Pastor Hurt. I don't apologize because you felt that way. I apologize because the little bit was in poor taste. And I think what you make the assumption, he's heartless. He's so mean and rude. I love songbirds. And I've got bird houses at the house. I've got chickens. I love on my chickens. It's, yeah.
Sarah Elkins, good morning. Tammy Keeling checking in. Mark Zapatas is good grief. Come on, people. Yeah. Jesse Pena.
One O poop makes up for a whole bunch of attaboys.
What did
Hi,
Jesse
Brent
ask
Anderson.
what he missed? Brent Anderson, good morning.
Jesse, you didn't miss anything. Just there's nothing to see here, folks. Move along. Nothing to see here.
Randy says, I just spread bird flu on my shoes. I walk on the grass. The cows eat the grass, crossover infection. Then we eat the cow.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
I've just destroyed humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had
Ricky
that.
King says, but Ash, we know you lick your boots all the time.
He's a bootlicker. I did have that. I had that criticism coming, and it's been well received. I learned we have an empathetic.
Will Vincent says, that's why the bird died. He smelled my armpit.
Yeah. Torrin Bell says you show off the bird daily. Greg Garcia with the hard line. It's not you, Brent. These folks just missed the memo that it's time to grow up. Yeah, no, I will admit I'm soft-hearted. I've never indiscriminately killed. I can remember.
You've discriminately killed?
No, I've had to think about it. I can remember being about 6 years old. I was riding with my mother. Had I been with my father, I know things would have been different. But my mom may remember this. She's probably listening. She and I were driving kind of back over there. You know where the tackle box is and those streets kind of go off at an angle?
Yep.
Well, at one point over there, like off Mimosa, back in there, folks, there was
Azalea.
there was a
somewhere.
ditch, but it was before they'd gone in and completely put in all the curbs and stuff. And it had rained a bunch, and the ditch was full of water. And as my mom and I were driving along, these two boys had a terrier, and they were taking the little dog, and they were swinging it and throwing it into the ditch. And the dog would always come back to them. And I remember it I'm 62 years old. I'm maybe 6 at the time. I remember this. It made an indelible mark on me that the dog was faithful. And I remember my mother slowed down, and the kid goes, it's my dog. It's okay. And my mom was like, will you make sure you don't hurt that little dog? And then we drove on. Now, had my dad been there, he would have gotten out and said, you guys get out of here. You know, and now my mom
taking
would
the dog
too.
home.
My mom now would drop a 9mm on those kids and say, go home. But it stuck with me. You know, I've never purposely mistreated any animal, except the ones that I killed because I felt I owed it to them, like Dove. I did that for the American farmer.
And the people in Argentina.
Right, who didn't get them all.
He's a giver.
Just a giver. Thank you, Cody. Thank you for understanding my heart.
But there's the danger in social media.
Oh, and
Things go viral because people post. If people
I
that
hope
are,
it goes viral. Go viral.
I mean, back in the day, if you didn't like what was on TV, you changed to the other two channels that you had.
Right, but now
Right? If you didn't
can
like what was on
lash out.
CBS, you switched it to ABC or NBC, and that
Now
was
you
it.
lash out from your keyboard.
Yeah. Now people just can't scroll on by. They've got to make a comment. They've got to accuse you of doing something.
You know who's got thick skin? You know who can scroll on by?
Who?
Politicians. Because I've told Elizabeth Warren she's an idiot so many times, and she's never even so much as acknowledged it.
Scott Tomko, you're right. It has.
Sorry, Scott. Scott says that's enough.
Let's take a
We're
quick
going to
break.
take a quick. I just want to apologize prolifically. Went Services for all your generator needs. Patrick Welder, as soon as I saw your bird post, I immediately thought, I wonder how much he's going to get for this one.
Wind Services, get a backup generator. That way you don't put a windmill in your yard, and that way that
You
wind
don't kill
generator won't
birds.
kill birds that are flying south for the winter.
The chopping block only kills voluntary.
Wagyu cattle.
That's right. Let me show you here. I just got a note from John Turner. Today is Meatloaf Tuesday on the trailer.
Lord.
Fajita flash sale. Well, this is the deal. Fajita flash sale, $9.99 a pound. Hanger steak.
Oh, man.
Hanger steak for fajitas. $5 off.
Or you grill them up and you slice them like fajitas and you serve them like that.
Yeah, that's
for
what
dinner.
he's saying.
Yeah.
$5
So good.
off prime tomahawks. Big tomahawk ribeyes, $19.99 a pound.
Wow.
Yeah, good deal. Good deal on very, very prime beef.
Get to the chopping block today.
Absolutely. I highly, and it's an in and out deal. You pull in, easy parking, you walk straight in. They're super friendly. They'll answer all your questions.
While you're in there, get John's Bernie's butt rub. I was gifted some of that for Christmas, and I hadn't made pork in a while. So
Has
I
it
threw,
helped with
I
your
threw-
eczema?
No, but I might make a paste of it and stick it on my armpit today, see if
Nice.
it clears it up.
Brand us, reach out to Commander Cody.
I put some of that on pork chops the other day, and it was really good.
Let Commander Cody help you with whatever your latest project is. If it's designing stuff for a website, if it's helping you monetize your presence on Facebook, whatever you need done, logo work, you need to refresh a website. He's very creative. It's what he does. Reach out to the Commander. Atzenhofer and Atzenhofer.com. Since 1926, Atzenhofer is Victoria's dealership.
That's 99 years, folks.
99 years. Reach out to Atzenhofer today for your next car. Everybody drives a used car. Their pre-owned department is amazing. Go by and see Tommy Taylor, and you'll be thrilled with the results. White Trash Services, BJ and Scott Nelson. Haven't seen Ms. Nelson in this week, but I know she's super busy running the chamber, on the school board.
I think it's birthday month for the two of them, if I'm not mistaken.
There you go.
So they'll be busy with that.
Scott Nelson just had a birthday last week.
Yeah.
I think he turned 60. Wow.
And Palace Bingo, we had a great time when we were there last week. We'll be back again in March, just giving the folks at Palace fair warning.
There you go. Good morning, Jeff Finley. What do you got?
You know,
for me?
Will Vincent, though, real quick, couple last jokes. Joel Gomez says, PETA, people eating tasty animals.
Right. No kidding, Joel. Thank you.
Yeah. And, but Will Vincent asks, sort of, he doesn't really ask.
He's
Blackbird's $20. But good point in the conversation you and I had this morning a little bit, with the very little show prep we do. If that had been a grackle, would anybody have cared?
No. Would anybody have cared at all if it would have been a blackbird? No.
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 Maybe a raven or a crow.
But because it is racist. Absolutely. This bird was a native red bird, which, by the way, is racist to label the American Indian red. Just so much appropriation of hate and anger. And I think it's a problem in our country, right? I mean, I think it's a problem that when you read, and perspective is everything. I used to read things that the left would say and go, oh man, they're just spinning that out of control. And when I objectively read, the right does the same thing.
They do.
The right does the same thing. You were talking today about the Social Security benefits and people's lives and
Yeah, I mean,
and
listen to this stuff that Elon Musk is finding. And instead of being 12 million people, according to Elon Musk in the Social Security Administration database, these are eligible benefit recipients.
So
They're-
somebody's getting a check, right?
Potentially.
Okay. 12 million people. 12 million people. Okay.
Are
A lot.
listed as being older than 120 years old. Commander Cody did some homework before the show. And how old was the oldest person to ever thought to have lived in the United States?
119 years, 96 days.
Which
So
is
she
not
died a long time ago.
which is not even the official Guinness Book of World Record, which I think is some Japanese lady who lived to be 116.
No. Right?
Musk said in a post, there are more than 17 million centenarians who are marked as alive and eligible for benefits 12 million of those are older than 120.
So there's probably really 5 million people in this country over 100 years of age. The other 12 are just folks that slipped through the system. And guess what? The original system had no reason to ferret them out.
The oldest person was 122 years, 164 days, and she was a French lady.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. That's in the world that we know of. There's probably some tribe somewhere.
Red wine,
than that.
live forever.
They're considered the elder of the tribe, and they're almost a god. More than 1,000 individuals listed as living between the ages of 220 and 229. Here's the other interesting thing.
Methuselah, Noah.
The death field, according to Elon Musk in the database, the death field in the data set is listed as false. So they're not dead. They're not listed as dead. Why? They couldn't verify it. They're 220 years old. They can't verify that.
I mean, come on. It just shows you they've been in the system for
One person is in the 240, 249-year-old age bracket, and the oldest person in the system is listed at more than 360 years old.
It's just a computer glitch, but it's a glitch. It's not systemic fraud. It's just an error that nobody ever bothered to correct. Those checks are going out. I don't know if they're being cashed or not, but think about that.
And there's more than 398 million eligible Social Security recipients in the system, yet we only have 341 people in this country.
Now, see, now that's a scary thought. 398 million people are listed as eligible recipients, and there's only 341 million people in the United States.
Which means they haven't cleaned up their database since the Social Security Administration was probably started, or they don't do enough of a cleansing of it.
But they're off by 57 million people. So if I take 57 and divide it by 341, they're off by almost 17%.
And I get it. There'll be some lag between when people die and they actually clean up their rolls.
Not
but
57
not
million.
57 million people, no. They're not cleaning up the rolls.
Wow. Good morning, Sheriff Louderback, State Rep, House District 30.
There's Funky Trey Molina. Good morning. Andrew Alvarez says check their voting records.
Torrin Bales with some biology. You kill the blackbirds and you get a whole bunch of crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least the blackbirds work.
Linda Chris says our government's lost $4.7 trillion. Anyone who's against Elon after he found the information, you need medication.
And it gets me that the outrage is about the people that are being laid off at the federal government.
That and that Elon Musk has access to this data. Folks, you're mad that he has access to your Social Security number? You've given your Social Security number away hundreds of times.
Sure, without even knowing it.
Without even thinking about it. Your data has been breached on the if you have AT&T for anything in your life where they needed a Social Security number, old landline,
Yeah, they've got it.
cell phone, DirecTV, anywhere that you might have lived. There was a database breach
Yeah.
last year, and it was dumped on the dark web. Tens of millions of Social Security numbers and other data on the dark web to be purchased by people because AT&T had your Social Security number and they didn't take care of it. And you're worried about Elon Musk, who's doing this job for free
it's that
and
fake,
doesn't give a crap. It
fake
is.
leftist outrage.
Yeah.
Greg Garcia says the EPA found $20 billion in climate grants pushed forward by the Biden administration without congressional oversight.
Well, I was listening to what's the Kennedy in Louisiana, the state rep?
His name is
Joe Kennedy?
no, his name is John
Kennedy.
Kennedy as well.
Yeah. Anyway, here's how, and he self-admitted.
They call him Jack.
He was going through a bunch of stuff. He goes, I had no idea that we were spending this kind of money.
Yeah.
Because Congress gets a bill that's this thick. They have 48 hours to review and gives them the Cliff Notes version of it. Somebody probably from the office, whoever wrote the bill, goes, here's why we need to pass it. They leave out all the crap they don't want you to know about, and they tell you all the good things. And so congressmen go in there
You can't be against this. It's such a good cause. The thing that gets me is it's the disingenuous nature of the federal government, right? These guys, and the Republicans have done it as well, they find a way to hide what they need
Yeah.
in the bill. Brian Croming's checking in. He's a multi-county district attorney now, lives up in DeWitt County, but I think he's also over Goliad County, putting bad people in jail.
Yeah. People up in arms over the SAVE Act and needing real ID to go prove that you can vote.
What do you do though? I read a deal the other day that was the alarmist. The Democrats they manipulate by fear. And the alarmist was 26 million women won't be able to vote, yada, yada, yada.
Why? Would we not give them the right to vote?
But what do you do if you say you're 55 years old, you got married 30 years ago, your name changed, but your birth certificate didn't change? They're saying you may need your birth certificate to sign up for certain things. Your Social Security card changes. You can replace that. But let's say you're a homemaker and you haven't had a job outside the home. You've had no reason to do that. All of a sudden, you may not be able to vote. It's very interesting.
Get a passport?
I don't know.
But
I really don't know.
the real ID, though, you're going to need that to get on a plane starting in May, is my understanding.
Good.
So, and I believe that's part of the component of this. Don't they verify that as part of the real ID that you have to, I don't know.
Right. Torrin Bale's asking, well, it's not really a question. He says, you still have to follow the money. With this kind of ludicrous spending, there has to be kickbacks. Well, the big guy's going to get his 10%. Yeah.
That's what they're going to, that's what they're all afraid of, Torrin. And it's not just the Democrats. Let's be honest. Mitch McConnell has voted pretty much against every significant cabinet nominee of Donald Trump's. It just tells you how out of touch he is with his base. And I know he's leaving. He's retiring at the end of this next term.
I think there's probably a line in Vegas. Will McConnell make it to retirement?
One way or the other, he can't go quick enough, in my opinion.
No,
he's terrible for this country.
Second, maybe only to John Cornyn.
Greg Abbott.
No, Abbott's okay. Abbott just blows in the wind. Whichever way the wind blows, that's the way Greg blows. He's all about getting reelected. It's all that matters. All that matters.
But some of the folks that are, I don't know, mad about the SAVE Act, just, it seems like they don't want to be inconvenienced to actually have to do the work to prove who they are. And maybe you shouldn't have to. It's easier for non-citizens, illegals,
Andrew
to do
Elwes
things.
says, when I got my real ID to travel, is that a thing? It's called a real ID?
No, that's what the ID, I guess, format is called, but it's
Real
verified. It's not all states are going to it either, apparently, or that's why they've taken a while to phase this in, because some states were slow to get their driver's licenses into the real ID to meet the real ID criteria.
Andrew said all he had to do is renew his license. John Anderson in the Carolinas. Good morning, brother. Hope you're having a good day.
Tom Price checking in.
I haven't understood yet. There's a lot of data on that little magnetic strip on the back of your driver's license.
Yep.
And I really haven't understood. If I could figure out a way to make a buck doing it, I would promote it. But I don't understand why they don't upload your health insurance information to whatever database that is, so that let's say that you're in an accident and you get to the hospital, they could swipe your ID. It shows you've got United Healthcare, or you've got Blue Cross Blue Shield. Because if you're incapacitated, you're just getting, rung up at the ER. I'll tell you, folks, we have a great emergency setup here, emergency room, emergency department. Don't go there unless you really have to, because you will flat get the chorizo, and that bill will start showing up at your house.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I think it's probably $500 to walk through the door. Your copay at your doctor is $15.
It's like the resort fee when you go to hotels that have a pool now.
We have lots of people in our community who don't have health insurance, and shame on them there's a lot of doctors that won't take you off the street paying cash. You've got to have health insurance.
Don't have to if it's not life or death, right? But that's why
Right.
the emergency rooms can't turn you away. That's why they go there. They do the same thing
And
in
they
Canada
just-
because
and
there's
it's what-
such a doctor shortage up there.
You don't have health insurance because you can't afford it, so you go to the ER and just get dragged down financially even more. It's
Well,
tough.
and then we end up paying for it.
I want you to remember that about 10 years ago when they started chirping about Obamacare and all that stuff, and that was the rage, I knew a healthcare executive who just said, you know, at the end of the day, if 10% of this country doesn't have any benefits whatsoever, you'd be better off just giving them a Blue Cross card, a United card, a whoever card, and just letting the system absorb their bills would have been cheaper than the route we've gone. And that's something I have supported the president on when Trump says, we've got to reform healthcare. Well, what's your plan? Well, I don't have a plan yet, but we know there's got to be something better than Obamacare. And as soon as we have it, we'll roll it out.
Here's my plan. Let's get rid of Blue Cross Blue Shield in every state. Why Blue Cross Blue Shield can't operate from a central office in Dallas and handle the claims for every state? Why do you need a Blue Cross Blue Shield Illinois, Blue Cross
I'll
Blue
tell you
Shield
why I
Texas,
think. I'll
Blue
tell you
Cross
why
Blue
I
Shield
think.
California?
At
'Cause they all
some
make
point,
money.
well, they all make money, but at some point, I think all the major health insurance carriers are betting on free healthcare or managed care for the whole country. And they want to be in the position to be the billing / clearinghouse for all of that on a state by state basis. But here's something I don't understand.
But I can buy my car insurance from somebody in Georgia at a call center, and I don't have to worry about shopping it over to the state lines like I do my health insurance.
True. That's true. Of course, the carrier you're buying from is licensed in Texas. It's a complex deal. But here's the deal. I don't understand why. If Commander Cody has 500 employees and you've got 50, that Commander Cody with Blue Cross gets a lower rate because his group is more predictable than you get because you got that one person with cancer and the 3 people with diabetes. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, Blue Cross Blue Shield is insuring 550 people. Their group is so big that they can absolutely operate under the law of large numbers. I promise you, there's an actuary in Dallas at the Blue Cross Blue Shield office who can tell you with 97.5% certainty, you've got 100 employees. Here's how many are going to have cancer in the next 5 years. Here's how many are going to have heart attacks in the next 5 years. Here's how many are going to have diabetes in the next 5 years. And they will be right, because that's their job. But it doesn't make sense that I have 12 employees, so I pay $1,000 a month. He's got 500 employees, so he pays $750 a month. It makes no sense because Blue Cross is on the hook for both of you.
California says every state has its own insurance regulations, but they do for auto insurance too. Like not every state is 5,150 or whatever that number is, or
right.
5,100. Like some states are less. The minimum insurance you have to carry. So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense other than it's a racket.
HR Mallory helps a lot right there, Super Trooper. If you have renewed or gotten a Texas driver's license / ID card in the last couple of years, you have a real ID. Okay, good, because mine just renewed last year because I'm old. You know,
I don't know. I haven't done enough reading on the SAVE Act to know, though, if that's good enough to prove that you can vote. I don't know.
I just don't know.
But if we're not giving illegals driver's licenses, then we should be okay, I would guess.
Scott Snow says health insurance is a racket. It is. You go in and it always cracks me up. You go in, they charge you $15,000 for this, but then your health insurance provider negotiates a $7,500 discount. And once you meet your $5,000 deductible, you only owe $2,500. Super.
I went.
It's like buying furniture in Houston.
The last time I had my blood lab work done, I went somewhere else, and then I got a bill in the mail. I've been used to paying like $6, $7, $8 when I get my bill from
What was
them.
it, 125?
It was pushing over. It was $55
Oh.
because I went to a different lab. I'm like, I'm going back to the old lab. I'll sit there for 30 minutes.
But see, you're getting old too. So the other lab worked so well that you went somewhere else.
They said, why don't you try doing it here? We can get the results quicker because it's.
Oh, so like a provider sent you there.
Yes.
Because they make a $40 kickback on that.
Probably so.
Junior Sample
No
says,
more.
get Christian Care. $75 a month, and any bill over $1,100 is 100% covered.
Okay, what about the bill that's $900? It's out of my pocket? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's still not a bad deductible. What you do
Probably
is just go, can you take another x-ray? Get it up to 1,100.
What they do is they bill you at $10.99 every time you go, so nothing's 100% covered.
Right?
That's
We
how
neg-
Christian Care
It was
gets their money.
$12,000. We negotiated it down to $10.99. It's all yours.
Exactly.
Send us $75, will you? Time for another break?
I guess
I
so.
saw you pointing at
Well,
that.
yeah, that's the way we go.
USA Concrete Coatings, folks. If you need to sand it, seal it, stain it, or paint it, give them a call. They can also level it, seal the cracks, put down a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't crack, stick, peel, or fade. Took years to master that one.
It did.
Give them a call today, 578-HOME. Veracruz Restaurant, the best Mexican food in town, period.
Tomorrow's called a Wednesday.
Today is full menu Tuesday. Get in there. You can have tacos. It's Taco Tuesday, fine. Get in there and have some. Knock yourself out. Dollar Floor Store. $1 a holler for them. Get in there and see.
Clearing out everything to make room
Tile.
for they're your floor trader. Go get 'em.
Laminate, hardwoods. Go in and see them. Allen's Wrecker Service. 578-6300. Allen is the go-to TOTU in this community. Reach out to them. Par Vita Wellness. Get in and get healthy. Meals, meal plans.
Meal prep.
Tell them what you want. Say, hey, I'm doing carnivore. Hey, I'm doing keto.
I've
Hey,
got gout. What do I get? How can I eat?
I got the gout. Yeah, they can help you with that.
Absolutely.
I think I'm starting to get a little arthritis in my right foot. Maybe they can help me with that. We're going to come back on the rest of those later? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Sure can. We love it.
Yeah.
Delta.
Hey, yeah, this was interesting. Late yesterday afternoon. I'm trying to picture how a plane flips upside down.
It just goes
Doesn't
like that.
burst into
Just goes
flames.
like that.
Did it wave its wings that slipped on the ice before it fell, or am I making fun of?
Bird back up.
You had to bring the
Am
bird
I
back
making
up.
am I making fun of a tragedy and I shouldn't?
Don't.
Do that?
When I see a Delta plane fly by, I think about lost loved ones.
18 people injured. Nobody apparently died. The plane was coming from Minneapolis, made a hard landing in snowy conditions, according to CNN, and ended up upside down.
One of the wings was shorn off as the aircraft tumbled, spitting out a huge fireball and leaving passengers hanging like bats in their seats.
Why do you got to disparage?
Why do you
bats
want to
like
disparage
that?
bats like that? Bats do that.
Bats don't hang by a seat belt.
No, that's just
Their
so.
feet are on something.
They're without a net. Bats are without a net.
Everyone on board was evacuated safely. None of the injuries appear to be life-threatening. An investigation is underway.
Yeah, I know what the cause of this is. It's Donald Trump.
Well, and
He's attacked the
you're right.
FAA.
You're right where I was going, because there are some idiots on social media on X that are actually posting stupid things like this. We didn't have plane crashes under Joe Biden.
Yeah, no kidding. Peter McNally's solid point. Medicare is like getting a raise. You know, I'm not a hypocrite often. Certainly not intentionally.
Jeremy Kruger says the runway was dry. Good to know.
They must have hit a bird. They hit a female robin, which threw the
Cardinal.
male into a suicidal mode over in Texas because they mate for life. The problem I've got at 62 is, and I'm not bragging, those of you that are my age or older, you know, I make too much money to pull Social Security now because I'd be penalized. It doesn't take a lot. I mean, I think the number is like $20-something thousand a year. You're allowed to make so much money and still pull your total, although it would be a reduced number.
Because you're taking it early.
Yeah, but it'd be a reduced number, 62, 65, 67.
Nothing from nothing.
Right?
is
Amen.
nothing.
At 67, I can get 100% of my allotted, and I can continue to do what I do for a living. What's interesting is I think it's at least 50-50 that between now and then they push that age to 70. I think it's going to clip me.
They'll go to 68, then they'll go to 69, then they'll go to 070. It'll be like playing bingo.
But that's what I wonder. How many of you share that angst, or how many of you have felt that might actually happen? I believe that in the next couple of years, they're going to go, we're not coming for your Social Security benefits, but if you're, and you're grandfathered, if you're already drawing money, right?
Yeah.
But if you haven't begun yet, we're going to give you an extra $20 a month to wait until you're 70. That's what's coming. And when you run that gap of the money you would get versus the money you're going to get later over that 36 months that they're going to take from you, it's a lot of money at a time when a lot of folks could use it. Yeah, very interesting.
Very interesting.
I think it's coming though. I think, and guess what? Even though it's going to hurt me or cost me money, I think I support it. I do. You've got to save the program. Although they're finding so much money, Ash.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem, and I was going to get into something else, but that's a good segue into this. Michelle Wilson-Hawkins says they had a gust of wind, made the plane turn and hit a wing on the runway. Yeah, that's crazy stuff.
Oh, it did like that. And then when it hit it, boom, 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 flippy.
Flip it over.
I'm just glad nobody was hurt.
Yeah.
Bad. I mean, not dead.
But all this money, and this is starting to scare me a little bit, because the rhinos are now talking about what they should do with all the money that Elon Musk and his Doge team is finding. They've been tasked to find $2 trillion in the next 2 years of waste.
Put it into the VA. Try to work as much as you can to deal with mental health issues in this country. Put it into the border. Put it into law enforcement. Put it into schools.
See,
Maybe not even in that
well,
order.
I don't. Why would they? If the federal government's getting out of the Department of Education, we don't need to put it into schools.
Put it into the states.
But here's the problem I have. Donald Trump went in to find all the waste to save American taxpayers money. Republicans are already lining up to find ways to spend that money.
Well, put it back into the general budget and just give us a tax relief that they don't have to raise that $2 trillion next year.
If we find $2 trillion that we can cut every year, let's pay off our debt.
I just don't think that you can even comprehend how much money $1 trillion is. We all now talk very casually about $1 million. We do.
I can't comprehend how much $1 million is, because I've never had it and never been close to it.
But it's the idea if a guy makes $50,000 a year, that's 20 years of his working life to get to $1 million. To get to $1 billion would take him 20,000 years at $50,000 a year.
You got a better chance of never being erased from Social Security than making $1 billion.
And then from there, if you made it those 20,000 years at $50,000 a year, there's your $1 billion. If you could do that 1,000 times over, you'd have $1 trillion. It's a lot of money. It is amazing how much waste there is.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's saying, well, we need to put that waste into defense spending. Well, if they're finding waste in defense spending already, we don't need to put more money into defense spending. Let's just identify that waste and then put that back into the defense spending on legitimate things.
Maybe we need Dave Ramsey to join Trump's cabinet.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
We're going to take $500 billion and put it in a big old jar and set it up in the White House.
We're going to have, can you imagine the envelopes in the White House?
Oh, they'd be all over the place.
All earmarked with what it's for.
Yeah.
Here's our discretionary spending. Here's defense budget. Here's, once the money's gone, we're gone. Scott Snow, you want to become a millionaire quick? Become a politician.
Yeah. True story.
Yeah.
They say that Elizabeth Warren's worth like $86 million.
There's something about Tom Cotton having his hand in the cookie jar. Yeah, I'd be interested to find out, and I don't know exactly what that means, whether or not it's just he got some pork for his district or he actually was getting some payback. That's exactly it, Randy. Let's not pay in that extra. Let's just not shift where it goes. I agree. But
so
until we pay down our deficit that we have, I don't know that we can do that, because we're either on the verge or right where the federal income tax paid into this country doesn't even cover the interest on our debt anymore.
No, that's right. Your income taxes are somewhat of a joke. How about if I tell you that I don't believe the parallels are not the same as, say, with school finance, because I don't believe that VISD is just flush with so much cash and that it's being wasted. I don't believe that. But I do believe that an outside eye, a Doge-like experiment working in, I believe that a guy like Randy Meyer could walk in there and say, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to move this to M&O. Maybe we don't need 4 assistant principals at every high school, just whatever the number is. I made that up. But Joe Buchanan asked, what do you think about the U.S. government contracting with Tesla to buy $400 million in Tesla electric Cybertrucks? The fact is, while it may be a conflict of interest, it was Joe Biden's conflict of interest.
And it wouldn't have been.
And
a
it
conflict
wasn't
of
a conflict of interest at the time because Elon Musk was actually somewhat a scourge to the Democrat Party.
And I don't know that it still is now because he's not getting paid for what he's doing.
No. And he's got the best electric vehicle on the planet. The whole deal is the result of the Biden administration demanding that non-war, whatever, those vehicles all become electric by 2035. This is the tree huggers and the do-gooders.
And as we talked about yesterday, Joe Biden gave 160, this is what the Doge is finding out, $165 million contract to some electric school bus maker in Canada. 95 million of those buses will never be delivered because they paid them all up front. The company apparently went bankrupt, which means that whoever owned it took the 165 and said, sayonara, leaving.
Yeah.
And they go bankrupt. I mean, maybe the government should have done a little bit better job in who they were investing in, because if you can't get $165 million from a government and avoid bankruptcy, Solyndra, are you listening?
Yeah. True story.
There's some problems, but there's no conflict of interest because at the time, Elon was the golden boy of the left. It wasn't until he bought Twitter and actually championed freedom of speech and got rid of all the censors at X/Twitter then X. That's when the left started to hate him.
Right.
When he exposed the fact that the Biden administration was working with the former owner of Twitter, and the Democrats are working with Twitter to suppress free speech, to suppress views on the right, to label things false and fake news.
No doubt.
They loved Elon.
Yeah.
They love his Tesla 3.
Well, Tesla makes the most reliable electric car out there, and the Cybertruck is a natural to be armored.
Elon is not running our government,
No,
Jewel.
and by the way,
Stop with that narrative.
Jewel, he doesn't run our government in any form. She says, so there's not a conflict, so Trump won't do it then. By the way, Jewel, you haven't apologized yet for the fact that you popped off in complete ignorance and said, oh, yeah, that sounds like something they would say.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
So why don't you just
accused? Yeah, when we
kiss a fat baby.
when we were accused of saying things we didn't say.
And when that was actually Ralph Puffy Salazar who said that, the gangster.
And I don't know if Trump can cancel it because it's an existing Department of Defense contract that was signed, and if he's delivering on it, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know that he has that ability. He doesn't have that ability now.
Absolutely.
Hey, can I interrupt for a second?
Sure.
So I was doing some research over here in the Commander Cave, and $1 trillion would take one football field of size at 3 stories tall. So 2 trillions, two
Of
football.
$100 bills.
Of $100 bills. That's correct. Yes. If
it was $1 bills, it'd be 300 stories tall.
That's correct. If you wanted a single bill stack those, you'd be looking at 1,262 miles for $2 trillion.
Thank you.
Wow. Julie Buchanan comes back with a what? Like, what? Me? I care so much. Well, when everybody was talking, and everybody was talking
About 3 weeks ago?
about 3 weeks ago, about that a radio host had said something about you better have your papers and you better have this. And somebody said it was those idiots at Wade and Carter, and it absolutely was not us. Yeah. And Jill Buchanan, under her upside down American flag, she chimed in and said, yeah, that sounds like something they would say.
Yep.
They. It's always they. Because she cares
and one of
so much.
And one of them's not even from here taking a shot.
And it was not us. It was you, ma'am. She, not my tone. Don't deny it. Go listen to FM somewhere.
Well, he can deny it now because it was been pulled off Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I think
it was on the Hood 360 deal. Yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah. No doubt about it.
It was on Hood.
There's no doubt you said
Good news. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with all of this. But I don't think there's a conflict of interest because he's a volunteer for the government.
But I'll throw the left a bone and tell you, I do think it's of interest that Donald Trump's administration, his people, went back and restated the contract to take out the word Tesla.
Yeah.
They said electric vehicle manufacturer.
Yeah, I don't know why they had to do that. Probably to avoid this, and then somebody leaked it anyway, so it didn't matter.
So,
but
Jewel,
here's the problem.
If you're not denying you said it, Jewel, you misinterpreted my tone. Give us a call. Let's just get your tone. 894-4020.
Here's the problem I've got with this. We know the limitations of electric vehicles now. Why is our military buying electric vehicles?
Do you want to go into battle with an electric car?
There's no need for them.
No.
There's no need for them. It was a waste of $400 million, and Joe Biden was trying to buy off Tesla. Who knows?
Jewel, 894-4020.
No need for electric vehicles in the Army.
Waiting for your call. No, there's no need. And there's plenty of fuel, and we're energy self-sufficient, and the electric cars cause more pollution than they save.
And then you've got all I read a story over the weekend about an electric airplane manufacturer.
That's
up in the Pacific Northwest.
Who's getting up in that thing?
Not me.
And how do you get thrust?
I don't know.
Just fans?
They've run a few test flights. The one that they had developed was like an 8-passenger, 2-crew. So we're not any bigger than the Cessna.
Fly from here to Edna.
But they were hoping that this was going to,
Edna to Grenada.
More or less. They were hoping this was going to revolutionize commercial air travel.
Dumb.
But apparently, I think in theory, after their test flight, they figured it had a range of about 220 miles.
Would you get in it and fly to Houston?
No.
Me either.
No. But the company couldn't find enough investors to keep things going, so they shuttered their doors and they're out of business.
So here's the other question.
How they found investors to begin with is what blows my mind, because how stupid is that?
Aside from the military helicopter in Washington, D.C. getting in the path of an incoming jet, which apparently has happened more than once up there.
Except they've just never collided.
Is there anything to make you think that we're seeing, honestly, more air problems now than we did in the past? Or is it just that they're reported now because they're big news?
No, I don't think we're seeing more. I think if they were happening, they would be reported, because plane crashes are always big news, and the old "if it bleeds, it leads" sells papers and clicks and viewers these days. That's so but I think this is the result of years, and maybe not even years. We could be seeing the result of what happened with the COVID shot mandates in the airline industry. They were forcing people to get COVID shots. Pilots walked away because they didn't want them.
Yeah.
We may have more inexperienced pilots in the air. They may have had to bring pilots in that maybe they wouldn't have hired in the past,
hires.
Even though they probably have the minimum number of hours to fly that bigger jet. Maybe they wouldn't have hired them if there were more experienced pilots out there and let them get more experience at a smaller jet. I don't know, but I don't think there's more. They're happening now. We went 16 years in this country without a major airline accident.
Right.
Buffalo to Washington, D.C. And I know they say, well, airline is safer than driving. Well, no, they skew those numbers.
It is, but you don't usually have fender benders in airplanes. I want to make a note for you people. I want you folks to understand I'm very serious about this. I protect the brand. I do what I say I'm going to do. I began this program with a sincere apology because I erred in something I said yesterday, and I took it down off Facebook. I've given Jewel Buchanan 2 opportunities to have the biggest format in this community, in this region, to give us a call at 894-4020 and simply say, I'm sorry, I mislabeled you guys. I assumed that it was y'all who would say something divisive, and I was wrong. But Jewel can't do that because the left is never wrong. The left just cares so much that if you didn't say it, you thought it, and you said other things, and therefore I don't like you. I'll call you out every time, Jewel, and I'll expose you for being the ignorant left. So you just feel free to sit on that one for a while.
We didn't understand her tone.
Yeah.
don't know.
Didn't understand.
I don't know what's hard
She
to
accused
understand
us of
about
saying something we
Sounds
didn't
like
say.
something they'd say.
So
one
I'll
of
just
one of those
say it.
guys isn't even from here.
That's right.
I think she even said I was from Canada.
Yeah, she did point out that you would think he would have a better attitude being that he's from Canada.
Something along those
And
lines.
haul ass, Jewel. Get a job.
Oh, you're touchy this morning.
I'm just not putting up with crap off liberal women. You can bet on that.
What about liberal men?
I don't like them either. But you can't punch a woman. You could, at least nudge a guy with a car. That'll be the deal. Carter threatens to kill liberals. Stupid people, leftist idiots.
Does Vladimir Zelensky have a legitimate beef to be miffed that he's not involved in the peace talks that are going
No,
on
he
between
ain't paying the
US?
bills. He's like a little adopt-a-pet.
Yeah, but it's his country.
Well, is it his country?
Well, he leads it. When's the last time any peace has ever been brokered without the people of the countries at war all parties sitting at the table?
Well,
I
have
don't
they
recall
said that he's excluded? The only thing I knew that
No,
happened,
he's just assuming he's excluded and says he won't accept any deal that isn't made.
the only thing that I knew that happened was that Donald Trump called Vlad Putin first and said, I need to know that you're on board to try to reach a peace. And then he called Zelensky, who was immediately miffed and started screaming, we will accept no peace brokered by the United States that involves our country.
Well,
We just
except I
won't
think
do it."
our State Department met with Russia's State Department yesterday at somewhere. Anyway,
Well, then let them keep fighting. And guess what? Hey, Zelensky, we've spent what now? I don't know, hundreds of billions of dollars.
U.S. and Russian officials kicked off talks in Saudi Arabia about ending the war. Here's what I think this is.
Maybe he gets-
What's it going to take to end the war?
Yeah.
And when you find out, we'll go talk to Ukraine. Yeah. I don't know. Hockey half minute. U.S. loses to Sweden yesterday 2-1. That sets it didn't matter. It already sets up a because the Canada U.S. Four Nations face-off final on Thursday night was already set up. Working on a pay your own tab watch party somewhere. I'll try to finalize that tomorrow, and I'll let you know where we're going to be to watch it.
Really?
Should be a good.
You're not going to go ahead and sponsor with the Wade and Carter Visa card that we got from First State Bank of Louise? I appreciate that.
Speaking of which, First State Bank of Louise, hockey half minute, and the Astros update.
Oh, I saw Bregman in a Red Sox uniform yesterday. It did. It hurt my heart a
It
little
does
bit.
hurt the heart a little bit.
It hurts the heart.
A lot of talk that Forrest Whitley will make the team because
He's 37 years old now.
he's
I mean,
close to it. Yeah.
he was a number one pick. Him and McCullers are two guys they spent so much money on. They've got to wait it out.
I think McCullers is the only guy that Jim Crane is actually guaranteed. Only pitcher Jim Crane is guaranteed that much money to ever, and it came back to hurt him. Which
Yeah, I bet he doesn't do it again.
Well, I mean, it's an injury. I mean, you can't deal with that. The guy was instrumental in the 2017 World Series.
And that's a great thing about Major League Baseball salaries. They're earned up front. I mean, he's earned it. Justin Verlander, saw him yesterday in a San Francisco Giants practice jersey, and the whole bullpen was just watching him like it was like watching Rembrandt paint.
Yeah.
Right here. Good morning. Question: would it be possible to announce an event on the radio? It's a mother and teen daughter 1-day conference. Mother and daughter, tweens and teens, 1-day
In
conference
her shoes.
on March 8th. Yes, Commander. Called In Her Shoes. At First English Evangelical Lutheran Church on Main Street here. First English Lutheran. No, it's not on Main Street. It's on Bridge, isn't it?
It's on Main Street.
On Main Street. Yeah, 516 North Main. Saturday, March 8th from 8:30 to 3. Commander, what do you know about it?
exactly what you read. Plus, I made a graphic for it at one point.
Okay, is this you with the red shoe on it?
No.
It says parent-teen communication, handling bullies, dating, purity, God's promises, esteem, body image in the media, friendship, and social media. So it's all good things. Featured speaker is Shannon Perry, and First English Lutheran. And I'm going to tell you that when I saw First English Lutheran on there, I'll be honest, I immediately thought of the Hartmans. It immediately had credibility with me. And there you go. There you have it. So March 8th, 8:30 to 3, First English Lutheran, 516 North Main.
So they can have it announced on the radio.
No, we would never do a gratuitous ad.
No.
It's dollar a holler. You don't pay us, we ain't doing it.
Man, I had no idea that today was the day, on this day, that Dale Earnhardt died in that Daytona 500 crash.
Terrible. Did anybody watch the end of the Daytona 500?
I
heard it
saw
got
I saw
really
the highlights.
messy, and there were lots of crashes.
Crash on the fifth lap, and then they finished the race. That they could have finished it under caution because there was a crash on the final lap, but they let the leaders go because it wasn't going to impact the rest of the race. They didn't want to extend that thing any longer.
Leave you guys with a nice quote from Toni Morrison. I don't always agree with Ms. Morrison, but I do on this one. At some point in life, the world's beauty becomes enough. You don't need to photograph, paint, or even remember it. It is enough.
Boy, if that's not a word, if that's not a plea to stop taking so many damn pictures and selfies and living life on your phone,
There
I don't
you
know what
go.
is.
Have a great day, folks. We love you.
Bye, folks.
I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at